Welcome to this executive summary presentation on how to plan and optimize quality of products and deliverables like a project management professional. In this video, we focus on situations, interpretations, and responses as required by this task of the PMP certification exam content outline. To effectively use this guide, we will analyze quality problems using a consistent structure. We start by observing a real-world situation, diagnose the underlying cause, and then define a structured management response to address that root cause. Our first theme focuses on acceptance and requirements alignment. Often, deliverables pass internal technical checks but still fail to meet stakeholder needs. This usually happens because the requirements themselves weren't properly aligned with stakeholder intent from the start. In our first scenario, stakeholders reject a deliverable that passed all planned tests. This happens because the acceptance criteria were too narrow and didn't reflect actual stakeholder value. The solution is to rework your requirements to explicitly measure the outcomes that matter most to the stakeholders. Scenario B involves a customer rejecting an output because it no longer fits their current operations, even though it met original requirements. The diagnosis is that validation was deferred too long. You must schedule formal validation checkpoints to ensure your work remains relevant to evolving stakeholder reality. In Scenario C, the team mistakenly treats technical verification as final acceptance. This collapses two distinct processes into one. Governance requires keeping verification and validation as separate steps. Only after formal stakeholder validation can you consider acceptance complete. This video showcases the reasoning-based learning experience behind pmprep.de, a multimedia e-learning course with a separate exam simulation pack, built for self-study and for training providers needing brand-neutral after-class support. Explore the platform at pmprep.de or contact the author at orlando@casabon.com. Theme 2 addresses requirements quality and traceability. When requirements are vague or untraced, you introduce significant execution risk. A robust acceptance pathway requires a clear, controlled chain, from stakeholder intent through to demonstrated compliance. Scenario A highlights a requirement that exists but cannot be governed. The diagnosis is a lack of integration into the control system. You must update your traceability matrix to link every requirement to its origin, its deliverable, and the method used to verify its compliance. In Scenario B, reliability is required but poorly defined. Vague expectations lead to inconsistent results. You must rewrite requirements to define the specific attribute, the measurement threshold, and the method of verification to ensure the expectation is objectively measurable. Scenario C warns against updating quality expectations informally. When teams change requirements in meetings without formal processing, you end up with dual baselines. Always route changes through formal change control to keep all teams aligned to the same authorized standards. Theme 3 covers the cost of quality. It is a common mistake to think that cutting conformance costs saves money. In reality, reducing prevention and appraisal efforts only shifts those costs to later, much more expensive points in the product lifecycle. This scenario illustrates how early savings often become downstream failures. By reducing upfront preparation, the project incurred massive external failure costs. The fix is to restore those conformance activities, mapping them directly to the specific failure modes they prevent. Theme 4 explores statistical process control. Simply passing unit-level checks isn't enough to guarantee quality. You must understand the difference between endpoint conformance and statistically stable processes to catch variation before it becomes a widespread quality issue. Finally, Theme 5 distinguishes between symptom removal and true defect resolution. Just fixing a defect isn't enough if the root cause remains. Use structured analysis to identify the conditions enabling the defect and implement preventative actions for long-term improvement. Moving to recurring defects with an unknown source, the management response requires a shift from symptom-level fixes to structured causal analysis. By utilizing an Ishikawa diagram, the team can systematically investigate people, processes, equipment, materials, and environment to address the root causes rather than just masking the symptoms. When a defect is corrected but closed without full resolution, we risk recurrence. True closure requires identifying the root cause, implementing verified preventative actions, and confirming the condition is resolved across the entire affected population, not just the single unit that triggered the report. Theme 6 covers compliance, governance, and quality planning. Compliance failures late in a project almost always trace back to early planning. Regulatory obligations and quality controls must be built into the project execution from the start, rather than applied as final approval gates. In this scenario, legal concerns stop a release late in the project. The diagnosis is that compliance was treated as an afterthought. To manage this, build regulatory obligations into your quality management plan from initiation, using phase gate checkpoints to ensure traceability throughout the execution. When the same deviation produces inconsistent reactions from reviewers, the plan is likely informing without governing. You must strengthen your quality management plan by tying metrics to specific thresholds, escalation conditions, and clearly defined corrective actions to ensure predictable and repeatable control behavior. When small projects suffer from large project quality overhead, discipline is being confused with uniformity. You must tailor your quality management plan to fit the context of the work. Rigor remains, but the documentation and review intensity should match the project's actual scale, complexity, and risk. Theme 7 highlights the importance of quality records. Quality control evidence is a vital control asset, not just a memory aid. A complete acceptance pathway requires a disciplined process, performing inspections, recording results accurately, filing evidence, and confirming total traceability for any future audits. When evidence of completed inspections is missing, quality execution loses its proof. You must capture evidence at the time of the activity, link it directly to the specific requirement, and prohibit items from advancing in the process until that confirmed, filed evidence is in place. If decisions were made but records cannot support them, your quality control system is likely relying on memory rather than documented assets. Independent reviewability by a third party is the ultimate test. If an outsider cannot reconstruct your logic from the records, the documentation standard has not been met. Theme 8 covers inspection efficiency. When review queues slow down production, it is a design problem, not a capacity one. Match your sampling strategy to the required evidence. Use attribute sampling for simple pass or fail outcomes, and variable sampling for continuous measures to maintain statistical confidence without creating bottlenecks. For complex process optimization, design of experiments is your best tool. Instead of changing one variable at a time by intuition, use structured experimentation to test combinations. This allows you to identify the optimal settings that protect strength, efficiency, and consistency simultaneously. Theme 10 warns against relying on a single favorable performance metric as proof of success. Quality fitness is multidimensional. You must assess the deliverable through all relevant quality dimensions for the given context, rather than closing the evaluation early based on one strong number. Theme 11 addresses quality under delivery pressure. Delayed evaluations, late evidence capture, and shrinking review rigor are all warning signals. When these patterns appear, your governance protection is eroding, making post-release remediation significantly more likely and costly. Even when a plan exists, controls often weaken when urgency displaces scheduled rigor. Remember, passing outputs are not evidence of quality if the control system has lost its sensitivity. Escalate schedule conflicts through change control explicitly, rather than allowing the quality plan to become unexecutable. Finally, Theme 12 explores continuous improvement. Whether using PDCA for iterative refinement, Lean for waste reduction, or Six Sigma for variation, your approach must move beyond local fixes. True quality improvement becomes durable institutional knowledge that benefits the entire organization long after individual projects conclude. In our first scenario under continuous improvement, we see a team stuck with a broken process simply because no one wants to restart it. The diagnosis is that the project is prioritizing procedural continuity over actual progress. The solution is to use the PDCA cycle, plan, do, check, act, to test and refine improvements in small, controlled increments. Our second scenario highlights the risk of losing knowledge when it stays only with the people involved. The diagnosis is that improvement remains local and temporary. To fix this, you must capture lessons learned and performance data in a formal, accessible way, ensuring that organizational capability persists even when the team changes. To develop your ability to think, decide, and answer like a project management professional, PMPrep.de provides a complete multimedia e-learning course with an exam simulation pack. It is built for individual self-study and for training providers who want solid, brand-neutral after-class support for their students. Explore the platform at PMPrep.de or contact the author at orlando@casabone.com.